Hi there. How are you? Work shirt today. Yes. Isn't that the dress shirt sporty? This is not fun. No. I just stiff it up. I didn't know we had a third. What the heck? We've run out of programs, so if you've got an extra program, I'm going to come by and collect it.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me in lighting the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
And as the chalice is lit, it's time for us to calm our hearts and calm our mind and our spirits as we settle ourselves in for a time of worship and support. Thank you. committed to respond to the call of a wounded world. We join together this day with loving hearts and hands and minds, embracing the interconnected web of water and earth and air. We light a fire of sustaining hope, ever bright with love and justice. May we bring forth this day new wisdom, new strength, new courage, to create a new world not of wealth but of well-being. As we give thanks for this earth, our time shared, our singular home, may we dedicate ourselves to its ongoing care, rising to the call deep within us and all around us. May we respond today and always with courage and with love. Good morning. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. It's my pleasure to be in front of you today and to thank you for being a part of this service. In a few moments, those of you who are guests and visitors will have an opportunity to introduce yourself, if you're willing, and tell us where you're from, because there's probably somebody else in the room who's from there too. And that's the way that we begin to find that interconnectedness by which we all gather together. And one of the things of personal privilege I want to take is to thank this congregation for the way that I was honored this past Sunday in the installation and in this stole that has been presented to me. I will do my best to honor you in this. But we find the way in which we build a covenant together of human frailty and human strength, in the way that we bring our hearts together in one place and one mind. And there are too many of you to thank at one time, but I do want to offer my heart to this congregation, for this congregation is extraordinary in its love and its compassion, in the way that it offers itself to each other, and for the blessed community that we create each Sunday and continue to create as our days go by. So my thank you for that and my heart for that. There's a number of things that I want to bring to your attention. I do want you to know that one of our members, Andrea Baker, lost her mother recently. The services are being planned outside of this state, but you should know that that was a difficult loss for her. And also, with the discontinuation of the SNAP benefits, at least the postponement of them, there is a greater need for foods to be donated to those services that are available to us and that are close to us. And so I'd like for you to know that both Sandalwood Food Bank, Deepwell, and Bluffton Self-Helps needs your food. And so if you're willing to organize that, get them to them or get them here, we will make sure they arrive at the needful place. This I would ask of you is that you check your expiration date of some foods that you may pull out of your pantry. I checked some of mine. Oh my goodness. So just be aware of that. They can't really use those foodstuffs if they've been expired. So please take that opportunity. Some of you may know that our church administrator, David Insera, has been very ill of late. He was in the hospital and is back out. Came home yesterday. So continue to hold him in the light of your love and the wisdom of the doctors as they know how to care for him. It's also been informed me that Neil Jones had a birthday recently. So when you see him next, please give him that Thanksgiving and that birthday greetings. And Kathleen, let's see, you have some announcements that you'd like to make. And so I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kathleen. I represent the membership committee. And so for those of you who are not familiar with how we do things here, most of the work in our church is done by us. We don't have a big staff here. We have a wonderful staff, but the work is done by us. The membership committee is charged with meeting the needs of both new members, recruiting new members, and then helping you get adjusted to being here, and also continuing members. So we have a lot coming up. We always do this time of year. I just wanted to point out to you that our course, which is to invite new people to come and learn about Unitarianism and about us, a new class will start next week. Ann Harrison is the person to see. It will be held Sunday after service. You bring your own lunch, and that's how you'll get started here. So Pathways to Belonging is what it's called, PTB. I always want to put PB and J, but no. No. So that's for people who are just joining us. If you're recruiting for us, in the back of each chair that has a pocket, you'll find our new brochure. Our new brochure is something that you can take 3 copies of from outside. Don't take them from the chairs here. This is a brochure that you could give to somebody who says, what is this church about? So there you go. That's our new congregational brochure. I just saw Ann. Ann, do you want to stand up? Ann's the contact for Pathways to Belonging, right? Next Sunday.
Yeah, see me after the service if you are interested in more information about Unitarian Universalism and maybe about this congregation as well. And then after the talkback next Sunday, Charlie and I will gather with a group of people next Sunday and the Sunday after, 2 Sundays in a row. And then that will give you enough, we think, information for you to make a decision about whether you might want to join.
Thank you, Ann. Going in order of time, next week on the 8th, we're going to have a bunco night. Now, this is for everybody, new members, continuing members. Again, a chance for fellowship and fun. It's not a big deal. It's very easy. So please come. And finally, in today's order of service is a list of current standing committees and a very brief description of what they do. This is to help you get ready for our committee fair, which will be held in 2 weeks. We'll have tables set up in the lobby area, and you can go to a table that says Worship Committee and say, well, what do you guys do? What would I do if I joined you? So committee chairs will be prepared. They'll have probably goodies to give you. Think of a college fair, that kind of thing. Well, this is our committee fair. So you get to learn about the work of our congregation. I think that's it. I hope I went fast enough. Yes?
What time is Bunko on Saturday?
Is Kathy here? I think it's 7 o'clock. We'll get that confirmed. I think it's 7. The person who's organizing that is right now in the nursery, so that's Kathy. Another Kathy. Okay, thank you.
While Ann was speaking, she mentioned our talk back. For those of you that are guests and visitors, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself in just a moment, but I would like to remind you or to inform you that after our service, about 11:15, we'll meet back in here for what we call our talk back, and we'll have a chance to talk about the message, what it meant to us, questions to ask Dick Hood that might have been spurred in your mind, just a way for us to continue the conversation together. And that's also one of the ways that you'll be able to find out a little bit about who we are, the way we do things, and how we respect and treat each other. So I would encourage you to stay for our talk back. Now, those of you who are first or second time visitors, I would love it if you'd be willing to introduce yourself. And so I'm going to start with the different sections. On my far right, your left. Are there any first or second time visitors willing to stand and introduce themselves? If you would please, thank you.
Lisa and Michael Wall, and we're from Reading, Pennsylvania. Moved here 3 years ago.
Welcome. Since we have a guest from Pennsylvania, who here is from Pennsylvania? Take a look around at the hands that are up, just so you know. In the center section, first or second time visitors. And yes, sir, if you would please.
Greg Barnes, been living here for 16 years.
Welcome. Good to have you here. Thank you, Greg. On my far...
Whoops, Charlie.
Surprise! My bad. Please, if you would.
I'm Sarah. I'm visiting from Atlanta, Georgia. Visited once before, a little over a year ago. Rachel's partner, and so this is my second visit here.
Welcome. Glad you could be here. Atlanta's not so far to commute. If you leave early, you can get here. On my far left, your far right, first or second time visitors? Yes, sir, if you would please, in the back.
My name is Dick Gennardi. I was born in Los Angeles. I've lived in several different states. The last 5 years I've been here living in Sun City. I heard about this church through a colleague of mine in Berkeley, and what she had to say about the human concern and the mission was very attractive to me. I'm pleased to be here.
Thank you for being here. Anybody else that I've neglected? And as we gather here, I need to get myself caught back up. I'm going to turn it over now to Dick Hood, if you would please, your opening words. Thank you.
Good morning. Nice to see everyone. Charlie Tyler takes the award this Sunday for the best dressed. Once a year, we have what we call Legacy Sunday, and it means that someone reminds you that it would be a nice idea if you would consider in your estate plan or your will or whatever, that you perhaps think about your own legacy and your relationship with this congregation. And basically, let's be honest, let's be blunt, leave us in your will. Okay, I don't know how I can be more blunt than that. We only do this once a year. This is the Sunday. We have a brochure, which is on the table out there, that explains our Legacy Keepers program. It's really simple, but it's something that we'd like people to think about, because what we do today affects who we are tomorrow. Sharon Green, and is Linda here? I don't see her. Oh, there's Linda. Hi. Sharon and Linda, would you stand? If you would like more information or to talk to someone on a one-on-one basis after church, Linda and Sharon and myself will all be available. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal too when you think about it. So that's it. That's the last I'll mention. Money, well, no, I'm going to mention it in the sermon too, I'm afraid, but in a different way. Our opening words are, there's two small quotes. The first is from the ancient Greek leader and philosopher Pericles, who said, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but it is what is woven into the life of others." Secondly, and I was very happy to find this, I have to admit I Googled it, a quote from Leonard Sweet, who is a Methodist historian and minister, who actually was a classmate of mine in seminary, and he actually made Google. I mean, I think you ought to get some points just for making Google. And he wrote these words: "What you do is your history. What you set in motion is your legacy." And having said that, with Pericles and Leonard, we are going to sing the first and fourth verses of hymn number 354. And please rise as you're willing and able.
Thank you to everyone who brought contributions to the food banks in Bluffton Self-Help and put them on the table in the bank, in the back. And also thank you to those of you who intend to make contributions in the future. And now you have the opportunity to contribute to the work that this organization does, both inside and outside these walls. And if you're a first or second time visitor, please just let the basket pass.
Thank you all for your generosity. And now is the time where we share our joys and concerns, and by sharing our joys, we can all celebrate with you. And in sharing our concerns, hopefully we can help lessen some of that burden. So if you have a joy and or concern, please come forward, take a stone from the basket, share with us your name and briefly with your joy and or concern, and then place your stone in the cairn.
Good morning. I'm Tish. I have a concern. My brother was taken to the hospital Thursday night with some fluid in his lungs. He seems to be improving. He actually is up and talking, and hopefully will be going home soon. He is 84 years old and has a number of other heart issues, so we're a little bit concerned. So if you could keep him in your thoughts, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel. This is Allison. So good to see everybody. It's been a while. I wanted to share, we've lived in different cultures around the world, and today is one of the days of Day of the Dead in Mexico, where we lived. And we believe that we can assimilate important practices from other cultures where we have lived. And one of the wonderful practices in Mexico is to put photos of our beloved members of our family in a sacred space in our house, and I just did it yesterday. I put pictures of Poppy, Texas, and Grandma Jean Mayer, and your grandparents too, so our children can learn from that, and I just see it as a great opportunity. So just want to encourage anyone, if you could, this would be a great window of remembering and treasuring the sacred lives of our family members before us.
I think it's interesting that across different cultures and spiritualities, there's kind of a common theme that this is the time of year when they say the veil is thinnest between the spirit world and the human world. And we have lots of fun with our Halloween tradition and the kids and their trick-or-treating. But we also recognize that there's some deeper meaning and roots there that we like to honor.
Well, I have a joy. I'm happy to report that I'm a grandmother. My daughter had a little girl, Sophia Marie, and she's doing well. But the greatest joy was last weekend we were able to, my parents live in assisted living in North Carolina, and we were able to bring Sophia to meet them, sitting outside on the porch. And it was the most glorious time to see the look on my dad's face and my mom. They're 92. And the 4 generations, I don't know, it was just a very wonderful, wonderful experience. So I'm thrilled.
So I'm going to cheat because this is really an announcement still, but it's a joy. So I took a stone too. I found out, I confirmed Bunko is 7 o'clock, and there's a sign up on the table. We hope eventually to get to the point where you could sign up online, but we're not there yet. And the other thing I forgot to mention is several of you have asked about small group dinners, which is another way we develop community and get to know each other. The next round of small group dinners will begin in January. We'll have the sign up available for you in December. So keep meeting. If your small group dinner group is still meeting, go right ahead. We invite you to continue, but we'll have new groups starting in January. And I'm grateful that you all come to these events. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I have a concern. My father, who is somewhere between 101 and 102, like the Timex watch, takes a licking but keeps on ticking. Unfortunately, he's in the hospital now. He lives with late-stage congestive heart failure and had a severe case of edema. Apparently, he's coming out of it, and we hope he's out of the hospital today or tomorrow, but his timing is perfect, as Hiagua and I are about to go on a cruise tomorrow. So, and he said to me when I talked to him in the hospital, he said, under no arguments, under no conditions are you to stay home from your trip. Of course, I might die.
I have a joy and concern. My name's Mary. I'm sorry to see that Joanne isn't here today because I'm sort of speaking on her behalf. The joy is that we're in the middle of another wonderful concert season. We just started it last month. We have the next concert comes up on November 14th. Scott Ainsley, who is absolutely amazing blues guitarist. So I hope you all will attend. And I'm going to say more than I hope you will attend. You need to attend. We need to support this series for Joanne and for their church. It's a fundraiser for the church here, so it is a positive thing. And Joanne's getting ready to leave Thursday to go on another trip to another Folk Alliance conference to start recruiting artists for next season already. So this is something that takes planning. This isn't something that just falls into place every month. She's working on it a year ahead of time. So please make an effort to get here on November 14th. And the concerts are once a month throughout the winter and the spring, and then we're off in the summertime. So if it's $25 admission, which is, I think, is pretty minimal considering the quality of the artists that Joanne brings here. So please support these concerts so they can continue, and so Joanne can continue doing it for us, okay? Thank you, guys.
So I only have to say this once. I know you're wondering, how's David? And everybody says to me, how's David? So I can just tell you. So here's a couple good, bad things. So David started coughing last year, and he coughed and he coughed and he coughed and he coughed, and we never knew why he coughed, but he was in the hospital about 3 weeks ago, and he was there for a week. And when he came home, he wasn't coughing anymore. So that's a huge thing. That's a really big deal, because he didn't cough like my dad used to cough. He used to cough like that, and he doesn't do that anymore. So did they plow him with so many steroids that I don't know what, or was the immunotherapy working and it just got to the point where he didn't feel like those nodules in his lungs were something he wanted to try to cough up? This is a good thing. He's not coughing. I know he hasn't been on the Caring Bridge, and I'm encouraging him to do it, but then he went to the hospital again Wednesday, dehydrated. Dehydration is a real thing. It's a real thing. When you think you're talking to somebody, but your eyes are closed because you're so exhausted, you can't even open your eyelids, and you're talking, but you're so soft and you're whispering like this and nobody can really hear you, you're dehydrated. So he went to the hospital. He came home yesterday. He is no longer dehydrated. He now has puffy feet. He is no longer dehydrated. So one of the things that the oncologist told us was that many times they hear people who are having immunotherapy who say, I'm doing fine. I have no reaction. I'm doing really good. And the doctors talk about that and say, oh, I hope it's working. Well, David had huge response, really bad reaction. And the doctors, even though they're not saying this out loud, they're smiling like, well, it's working. Weird. But now we wait. And we wait for 3 more weeks before he has a CAT scan, then they can compare. And then we can know, is it working? But you know what? It's not coughing anymore. I think it's working. And I know one thing that's working. This congregation has been amazing to us. They've been so good to us. Cards, gifts. It's been so amazing that people keep doing it. It's been going on for so long now, and we're still getting reach outs, and it's just amazing. You all are amazing.
I'm Leslie, and I want to thank Kathleen Kelly. I've got lots of joys and concerns, but I wanted to limit it to one today. As a member of the membership committee, I attended a retreat at her home, and we did a vision board, my very first vision board, and I just want to attest to the power of a vision board and the fact that I got to share it with a few people, and it works.
Hey gang, Anthony. I've been holding this joy in for a bunch of months, and you'll know why in a second. I have 2 golden retrievers. They are kind of my secondary life. I spend a lot of time with them, take them to the park every day. Well, the park has 2 parts, a field where we play fetch or trails. So my biggest complaint about my dogs is they forget their names as soon as we get there. I can scream their names left, right, sideways. They're going to do what they want. So one day we were on the trail and my dogs go off. I don't see them. I'm yelling for them. And then all of a sudden I hear a voice saying, they're over here, or something to that effect. And I walk around the corner and I'm looking right at Daniel. And it was just, to me, it was just so joyous that another UU was on separately on our trail together, having fun. And he was kind of chuckling how I was screaming, and my dog's in the woods on the back, getting ticks all the time. Yeah, Wendy's like, you have to stop going there. I'm like, no way. They could have 100 ticks. I'm still going there. But anyway, my joy was that I connected with Daniel in a totally unexpected way. He was taking a hike because his kids were on some, activity, and it was great. So here's to you, Daniel.
One last final one. We've been waiting.
Hi, I'm Alessandra, and I think I'm the last joy and concern. And I have a joy because it is my 13th birthday today. And I do want to thank my mom because she woke me up today with a very cringy note, but it was still a loving note, and I want to appreciate her for that.
I have a joy to share with you as we have received the second epistle to the Blufftonians from our good friend Tom Duff. He writes, I, apostate Thomas, sadly not apostle, and dedicated Megan, once again send greetings to the ever-faithful congregation of Blufftonia. I wish I could report that our efforts to convert the people of San Miguel were more successful. In fact, the number of converts could be counted on one amputated hand. For some reason, these people seem extremely content with their lives, easygoing, invariably kind, indifferent to making money, and highly celebratory, with nightly fireworks, parades, music, dancing, all mixed in with breaks for who knows how much tequila. In many ways, they seem like they're already Unitarian Universalists. Word has reached us via Speedy Runner that Reverend Charlie Tyler has been installed as the official pastor of your congregation. I might mention here that in San Miguel, a very strict ritual is required for that service. Any inductees are required to demonstrate their humility by getting on their knees and having each member of the congregation place a hand on their bowed heads. In Reverend Tyler's case, however, being a person of both profound wisdom and profound humility, no such ritual would be in order. I know the only ritual you followed was one expressing immense gratitude for his unwavering devotion to you all.
I will now place 2 stones in the cairn for the joys and concerns that remain unspoken. I will also place a stone in the vase for those families and children who have been affected by gunfire. Now, if you will join me in reading the affirmation of 39 in the back of your hymnal. This is written by Maya Angelou. If you can just imagine her voice, I wish I could have her diction, but I don't. Carefully, the leaves of autumn sprinkle down the tinny sound of little dyings, and skies sated of ruddy sunsets and roseate dawns, roil ceaselessly in cobweb grays and turn to black for comfort. Only lovers see the fall, a signal end to endings. A gruffish gesture alerting those who will not be alarmed that we begin to stop in order simply to begin again.
The very first time I preached here, I noticed that there was a subtle message in this sanctuary that none of you can see. But if you're standing here, there's a big, huge clock right over there. And I think the message is hey, pay attention to that damn clock. So which I'm going to try and do this morning. But I also want to tell you that I like to tell stories, as most of you may know, and I'm telling you one this morning, and this one's longer than usual. So get comfortable. This story encompasses over 85 years. So I have 85 years worth of material to share with you. So you need to be as comfortable as you can get. In 1942, my grandmother and grandfather, my grandmother Cora, my grandfather Ernest, were loyal members of the First Universalist Church in Waltham, Massachusetts, and had been for a number of years. And during that year, they underwent a major renovation of the sanctuary of the church. And my grandmother and grandfather were noted as contributors, but I think there was probably a lot more than that because my grandfather was a contractor, and he had probably more than just a little hand of the actual grunt work of redoing this sanctuary. Sacred space for many people, including my grandmother. 2 weeks after the sanctuary was dedicated, my grandfather died suddenly. And in his honor, there was a plaque made with his name on it, thanking him for all his efforts on behalf of the church, particularly the sanctuary. He was respected in another way. In 1946, when I was born, my middle name is Ernest, which is my grandfather's name. And when my brother was born in 1953, my mother named him Ernest. So we both have Ernest in our name in his memory. About the same time that I was born, Cora remarried another man in the Universalist Church. She had very good taste in men. And she continued to be, with her second husband, Harold, a pillar of the church. That was fine until the mid-50s, when the church started to decline, as many small liberal churches did during that era. And finally, in 1957, going way back here, they came up with an idea that maybe they should merge with the Unitarian Church. Now, the Universalist Church was much smaller, but they had a new, young, dynamic minister. We have a new installed minister, young, well, I'm not so sure. The Unitarian Church, much bigger, big edifice, probably more wealthy, stronger church, had all that, but they didn't have a minister. And so the two churches merged, and the Universalists, with some reluctance, and I was 11 years old at the time, so I can sort of remember, we started to go to the Unitarian building, but they merged, and turns out it was successful, and there was a number of communities at that time that did the same kind of thing, where there was a smaller Universalist church, a larger Unitarian church, and they got together. Now, there was a problem with that, and one of the problems that they had to face, the old Universalists, was what to do with the Universalist building. Remember, it had the remodeled sanctuary. right in it. And it was a building that for probably at least 30 years, maybe more, was really the heart and soul of my grandmother's life. My grandmother did not drive. She's a very strong woman, very bright, but she never drove. So the church particularly was the focal point of her life outside of the home. And that was a home where there were always cookies in the cookie jar, homemade. And there was always a choice of homemade white bread or homemade oatmeal bread. Boy, those were the days, weren't they? You know? She got herself on the committee to sell the church. And she made it very clear, and this is a memory I have very strongly, that it was going to remain a church. That we weren't just going to sell it to the highest bidder. It was going to remain a church. And that was very important to her. And now I realize, many, many years later, that was part of her legacy, part of remembering her first husband, but also so much part of her life and efforts for so many, many years. So she got herself on the committee. She was no fool. She couldn't drive, but she was no fool. And she was part of engineering the sale of the church, which was a very valuable piece of property because it was right on Main Street. The post office was right diagonally across. She engineered the selling of that sanctuary, that church, for $77,000. Even, of course, that's back when $77,000 could actually buy you something, unlike today, which doesn't buy too much in the way of churches anymore. But they sold it to the Nazarenes, which is a splinter group from the Methodists. And they sold it for $77,000, primarily because my grandmother wanted to make sure it was a church. We go now to a little bit later. They took the $77,000 and decided to build a small chapel onto the former Just Unitarian edifice, with the idea that it would be for Sunday school and maybe small weddings and small funerals. And in fact, that chapel was built. And it was really quite nice. It seated about maybe 50 or 60. It had a nice little altar, and it was a very classy building. My grandmother and second grandfather moved to Florida, but they learned and were very distressed when about 5 years later, the Nazarenes turned around and sold the church. And not only was it not going to be a church anymore, but the first thing that was erected on that piece of property were the golden arches. And it turned into a McDonald's. That was not a happy time for my grandmother. Even though I wasn't there, she lived in Florida at that time, I can remember her telling me that she was, quote, deeply disappointed. And she was not a lady who whined or talked much about her emotions or anything like that. But she died in 1967, not that much afterwards, and certainly she thought her legacy had not been carried out. That her legacy was in that building, and now they were serving Big Macs. There's a lesson here. I'll take a swig while you figure out what the lesson is. No matter our best intentions, no matter our concerted effort, no matter our genuine sincerity, you do not get to control the future. And that's pretty strange that I just asked you for legacy money a short while ago. But it really is. It's a truth. Now, for some of you, that's not a big problem. But for many of us, and I think maybe most of us at least have a little tinge, we want to control things. And we even want to control things after we die. And you know what? I feel that about this congregation. I want this congregation to grow and prosper and thrive and be a message in the community that says that, in the words of the hymn, to question is the answer. That's why I like that hymn, John. I know John doesn't like that hymn, but I like that hymn, and we sing it at least once a year. My grandmother's legacy, I think, was shot. And I think today about all the poor people, they're not poor yet, who worked for the federal government and who work for a variety of institutions around the federal government. Even my own brother, who spent their life working for something that was important, be it in healthcare or national parks or weather forecasting or historical preservation or whatever. Those people's legacy has been taken away from them in such a crude and uncaring fashion. And I feel really bad for those people. I feel bad because although I never had a federal job, certainly as a parent, and for all of you who are parents, you try to build part of your legacy into your children. Stand up straight. Don't lie. Respect your elders. All that kind of stuff that you try to inculcate into your children. I know I tried to get my children to be readers. Well, they don't lie, they respect their elders, but they darn right don't read, I'll tell you that. No, they don't even read the morning paper. All they read is their telephone. That's pretty much it nowadays. We can't continue to try to make things better in the future. It doesn't work. It may be a labor of love, but we're fooling ourselves if we think that somehow we can, by perhaps attaching strings to our will or whatever, all you're doing is placing a bet. A bet that says if you're really blessed, maybe your values will be carried on to the next generation. But we also set ourselves up for disappointment. Sometimes we're dead and don't realize it. About how, in spite of our best efforts, things don't turn out the way you want. Can you imagine how Barack Obama feels right now? Oh my goodness. 8 years working for all kinds of good causes. And his legacy is certainly in serious question. So that's the simple lesson. That's even though we try to control, it doesn't always work. In 1967, my grandmother died. I'm going to go back to the story. And I want to finish the story by going ahead 57 years to 2024. My wife and I, mainly me, she tagged along, but it was my idea, wanted to make a trip back to my hometown. Now, I have no relatives there anymore. I don't have any friends there either. There's no real reason to go back to my hometown. My reason was twofold. First, to look at and inspect, maybe for the last time, the graves of my mother and father and both sets of grandparents, and we did that. My wife was very good. She could spot a hood grave half a mile away, or so I thought. But I had an unwritten kind of hope in the back of my mind that I'd like to show her the church that I spent my teenage years in anyway, and that was very important for me and who I am today. And so we went back to the first parish. Nobody calls it the Unitarian Church, the first parish, because they were first in town. They were the town church, and they're very proud of that, the first parish. Went back and said, let's see if we can get in. Knocked on the door was locked. That's not a good sign. But a middle-aged woman came to the door and opened it up, and I explained that, yeah, I was brought up in this church, and here's my wife, and I'd just like to come back in on a sentimental journey. She was very accommodating. Oh, yes, come right in. I don't think she trusted me all the way because she never left us alone. But we went to the sanctuary, and there was the beautiful big sanctuary, very New Englandy, all in really good shape. And we went to the parish hall, the big, huge parish hall, where they used to have all kinds of musical productions that the church was famous for. And that was in good shape, too. And then at the end, we went to the small chapel that had been funded by the sale of the Universalist Church. There were no pews in the whole room. All the pews had been removed. The carpet was stained. The place, I have to admit, was kind of dirty. I was mortified that if there was any part of my grandmother and grandfather's legacy, if there was anything left, it would have been in that little room. Not so little. And no plaque. The plaques that were supposed to have come over from the Universalist Church and been put in this chapel, gone. Gone. And I said, what's going on here? And then I looked and realized there's all these toys all scattered around all over the place. Nobody picked them up. In my house, when you were done with your toys, you picked them up. But evidently that didn't happen here. And she explained to me that there's no real need anymore for the church to have a second sanctuary. No need for it. But there is a need. The church sponsors a daycare center specifically for single-parent children. That was where the community need was, and the church and some private group, I think together, have sponsored this daycare center to provide these children, mainly of single-parent background, a playground, a place to be safe, a place to be happy, a place of refuge. And somehow, in some strange way, I think my grandmother up in heaven, if she's looking down, may be smiling, even though we know that we don't know what our legacy will be. John.
Thank you, Dick, for drawing our attention to our history and how it is we may keep it relevant in our own lives. If you would please now take your hymnals into your hands, turn with me, if you will, to hymn number 290. Hymn number 290, Bring, O Past, Your Honor. May we stand and sing together.
Bring, O past, your honor. Bring, O time, your harvest. Golden sheaves of hallowed hearts and minds by truth made free. Come, ye faithful spirits, builders of this temple, to holiness, to love and liberty. Ringing glad thanksgiving, bell of grief and gladness, forth to town and prairie let our festal greeting go. Voices long departed, in your tones re-echo, praise to the highest, peace to all below. Shine of frontier courage, Sinai of its vision, hope and hearth of common quest for life's immortal good. Standing years uncounting, sentinel of conscience, as though the past your sorrows have stood. Church of reformers, pioneers undaunted, company of conscience to keep the spirit free. Long as the river preaches eternal gospel, faith, hope, and love for all humanity.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. A well-chosen hymn, Dick. Well chosen. Those of you who are guests and visitors today, thank you for taking a dare and coming and being a part of this place. I really would like to invite you to be a part of our talk back there. You'll get a chance to meet us and see who we are as a people together. And Dick, thank you for the broad thinking that you bring here as we begin to understand our own history and our own legacy and what we leave in the community, that this is rich and rare, and I pray that it lasts long and lasting. Dick, if you would please, I'm going to invite you for our final remarks.
This is a poem by a woman named Marion Biko, a contemporary African-American writer who I think may be Canadian, in which case she's probably mourning a little bit this morning as the Blue Jays lost the World Series. In the end, or maybe even at the start, we all share one truth: death. It doesn't matter how rich we are, how kind, how broken, how brilliant. Death is the one door we all walk through. You can't hide from it, you can't bargain with it, and you can't bring anything with it when you go except your legacy. So what will yours be? When the time is over, when the dust settles and the world keeps spinning without you, what will they remember? Not the things you owned, not the titles, not the followers, but the way you made people feel, the courage you showed, the love you gave, the cycle you chose to break, the healing you sparked. So ask yourself, what's the one thing you want to be remembered for after death? And then, when you've answered, live every day as if your answer really matters.
Please stand if you're willing and able, and join me in extinguishing the chalice. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.